Hey, it's Patrick from JMP Cycles. Today we're going to be installing the Custom Dynamics Bat Wingz LED accent lights here on our Bat Wingz style bagger. This installation is going to be the same for 14 and up baggers. So if you have a Rushmore style Bat Wingz fairing, like a Street Glide or an Ultra, this is going to be for you. The first thing we need to do is get our windshield off here. We'll pull off our turn signals and get our outer fairing off. And as daunting as that sounds, it's not too bad. We're just going to need a T27 Torx and a 3/16 Allen, and we're going to get to work. We're going to pull both of these screws out of here, let this light hang, and then repeat the process on the other side. We're going to unplug this plug back here. But something I want to point out is this bracket right here is not stock. You may not have that. It's actually a really helpful piece. This is a Kuriokin tie-down bracket. If you ever spend any time with your bike on a trailer, you need to tie it down. These little hooks that go behind here make it really nice to hook straps to tie your bike down. Okay, so now we're going to take our outer fairing off. Might be a good idea to cover your fender at this time if you're not too sure-handed. If you drop your outer fairing or headlight on here, it's going to ding it. We're going to take our Torx bolts out here. We're going to remove our windshield trim. We're going to put this bolt about halfway back in, because after we go take our 4 Torx bolts out in here, it's going to leave this hanging by this bolt. So then we'll be able to come out here, take the bolt out, and be able to hang on to our outer fairing. So let's get to work. We're just using an old t-shirt. We're gonna cover the fender. Now we're gonna take this bolt out. When we take this off, we're gonna have to hang on to it because the headlight and stuff's plugged in back there. We have to hang on to it and then unplug the headlight, and then we'll go set the fairing in a safe place. Really nice thing about this setup from Custom Dynamics is it's plug and play. So no soldering of wires or crimping or anything. We're going to take this plug on the supplied harness here. We're going to plug it back into our stock plug for our turn signal. Then we're going to route this longer piece back inside here so it just hangs down here, leaving the short piece on our fork leg. And we're going to plug our turn signal back into this and then reinstall our turn signal. And we're going to do that on both sides. Now it's time to get our lights mounted on the outer fairing here. Make sure this is pretty clean. You're not gonna want any dirt there, it won't stick that well. And now, once we have it sitting up here where we can lay it out, we're gonna kind of figure out where we want it. I kind of want the lights to start at this bottom curve and they end up here before the bottom of the fairing. And once I figure that out, I'm gonna take a marker, or if you have a grease pencil, you can kind of just put a small little mark right at the end of where you want it to start. So now that we know where we want it, we're gonna take the primer here. Primer is this little tube of crazy smelling stuff. I had a little dot right here. Squeeze that and crush it. And when you put the primer on there, it'll get the surface super clean for you. Then you can peel the red backing off. Start at the end, we're gonna work our way down, sticking it this way. And make sure you kind of hold it flush to the bottom of the fairing, because this fairing isn't laying flat on this table, it's kind of up right here. So if I stick this on here like this, the middle of this light right here will barely be stuck on there. So make sure when you do it, I'll probably pick the fairing up a little bit and make sure it stays flush with the edge of the fairing. Go along, I'm just gonna use my finger to make sure that it's flush with the bottom of that fairing. Stuff's real sticky, so once it sticks, it doesn't want to unstick. I'm not gonna say you only get one shot, but the second shot's gonna be more difficult. Peel, man. Dang old peel. Okay, so now we're gonna remount our outer fairing back on the bike. I zip tied our wires that are gonna go to our bat wings loosely on some other things in the fairing here, just so they don't just beat around in there. When you put this on, you're gonna have to hold it while you plug in the headlight and the two bat wings, kind of feed the wires back in there as the fairing goes on. Have your center bolt for the top windshield mount bolt ready in your hand, because when that's on there, then you can run this back down in there a little ways and have it hang there while we put our other interior bolts on. When you put your T27 screws back in the inner fairing, you have a long one and a short one for each side. The long one goes at the top and the short one goes at the bottom. Now we'll take our top bolt back out and we'll put our windshield and windshield trim back on. So everything's back together, but we have one more thing to do. Got to run your hazard lights for 3 minutes with the ignition off. After that, they should sync up with the bike, and then all of your turns and running lights should work accordingly. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comment section. If you like this, please tell your friends, subscribe to us, and go work on those motorcycles.